What was the search for then?
Search
If
for
it was just
section one of the police and
oh, so you just searched me just to find identity? Is that what it was?
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'd probably be more encouraging for police to try and stop someone who's got full face coverings on it.
Well, I only.
So as you've seen from them quick snippets, they confirmed that the reason they searched him was to ascertain who he is for ID. And then they also say, if this was your area and if it was me, I would encourage police to stop people who was wearing full face coverings. Well, that could be racist within itself. The hijab is a full face covering. So you can't say that, can you? Absolute nonsense. But this video has been heavily cut. There's a small snippet of the video rather than the full video. So if you want to watch the full video, there will be links and an iCard. But let's just get straight into it.
I'll hold it for you so you can see.
I just need this to record.
Yeah,
That's all I need.
I'll just explain to you. So basically, as it stands at the moment, we have a high-risk missing person who is also currently wanted.
Yeah, but that still don't warrant you for doing this to me.
Listen, so he matched your description in regards to a grey hoodie and jeans. So that's why we have stopped you to question you.
What was the search for then?
Search
If
for
it was just
section one of the police and
oh, so you just searched me just to find identity? Is that what it was?
yeah.
Oh, right.
Okay. Believe that you were outstanding
Yeah.
for an offence. Because when people don't.
Okay then, so I don't mention this section all that much in my videos. In fact, will be the first time I'm mentioning this section in the videos. We know in the previous ones we've established section 1 of PACE is to to search somebody for prohibited articles. And we know that's not what they was looking for in this search. We know, as I've just admitted again, the reason for the search was to ascertain who he is, get his ID. So I honestly believe this is a section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act of 2015, which I'm just going to play this.
Corrupt or other improper exercise of police powers and privileges. 1. A police constable listed in subsection 3 commits an offence if he or she A. He exercises the powers and privileges of a constable improperly, and B. Knows or ought to know that the exercise is improper. 2. A police constable guilty of an offence under this section is liable, on conviction on indictment, to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 14 years or a fine, or both.
So there we go. We already established that the section he's using is an improper section for what he is doing. So why isn't he getting arrested for section 26? Police constables which abuse their powers and knowingly abuse their powers should be held to account with this section, looking at 14 years. Not exceeding 14 years, so he could get a maximum sentence of 14 years. How many police constables do you think out there would abuse their privileges and their powers if they was getting punished with this, under this? Because I can guarantee next to none of them would, if they know, oh, if I do this illegally, I'm going to get held accountable and look at prison, losing my job, losing everything I've worked my ass off to do. Absolute disgrace. So we already established that they abuse section 1 of PACE to look for ID, when we know section 1 of PACE is to look for prohibited articles. But let's continue.
If that's their identity and they match the description previously given, we need to identify who you are. And based on previous for this person, they're known to carry weapons, so we also need to make sure that there's a safety element. So section 1 of PACE covers
Well, what have you got out of doing this stop and search? What have you got out of it?
We've established that you're not the person we're looking for.
Well, how? May I ask how you've established that?
We've located your mobile device and our boss has called the suspect's mobile device.
Yeah, I'm still in cuffs.
So as part of this, obviously we have to record stop searches. I understand you're obviously saying you wish to make a complaint. Rock your hand up for me. Would you like to give your details? Because obviously that'll make it easier.
I can do that at a later date, don't worry.
Okay, that's fine. Obviously, it just makes it easier when recording the stop search for you to be able to locate your search. The only thing I would say is obviously we thank you for your cooperation. I appreciate you haven't given us any details, but thank you for your time and sorry to disturb you.
Well, I shouldn't have been put in handcuffs. Yeah. He's followed me.
So it's saying thank you for your cooperation. There was no cooperation about it. It didn't want to be searched. There was no grounds for the search. this was absolute nonsense, all to gain his ID, which they didn't even do. And then they say, no, we established it in you. So how did you establish that? Because you didn't get nothing from the search, so how did you establish that?
He ran for 45 minutes. He could have done it at any time, but yeah, he chose till now until he called up some backup.
Is this your?
Yeah, that is
your
my
beer?
beer.
Obviously, just be aware of open containers. And
No, town centre. I'm not in the city centre before you try and say.
I've not.
So I can drink it as much as I like.
Just making you aware.
All right. Yeah, I know the
I'm
laws.
trying to be courteous to you, that's all. I appreciate, obviously, you don't want to stop. To be completely honest, if you advise in this situation, if it was my area, which you're saying it's your area, which I completely respect, I'd probably be more encouraging for police to try and stop someone who's got full face coverings on it.
Well, I only put it up every time he...
So I've already had my say on this, and I do on all of my videos when they're on about full face coverings. End of the day, you're in public, and if you want to create your own privacy, you create your own privacy. That is all he was doing. I said it from the very first video to this video now. If you want to create privacy, you create privacy. There is no expectation of privacy in public. So you create your own. I would not, even in my area, want the police stopping people just because they've got a face covering on. There is no grounds to stop somebody from because they've got a face covering on. There's no grounds to search them because of wearing a face covering. No, I do not want you to go out and abusing people's powers, abusing people's rights, and abusing your powers. Absolute disgrace thing to say.
Drove past and he knows that because he even said it himself.
Yeah, but it raises suspicions.
Yeah.
Well,
you got to see that, surely.
I don't like to be on your cameras.
Yeah, but I know you're good enough. It's vice versa, isn't it?
So, because you'd
Obviously,
all like...
Hey, but we can agree though. You don't like us, which is fair enough. But you can also
Who
understand...
said I don't like you? I like
Mate,
good
it's-
officers. I don't like getting stopped in the street for doing nothing wrong. I get thrown in cuffs when I'm not
but
violent.
have we not-
So that's another reason,
have we not
because you
explained
shouldn't put cuffs on unless you believe them to be violent.
Yeah, but the male
So-
searching carries knives on those. And how do I know you're not the person
Well,
who knows
that should be the case. It should be if you believe they might be violent. There's three of you. There's one of me. You know. And now look. Now we've got a police van.
All right then, so the handcuff thing, we're going to go over to the College of Policing, legal applications. Well, the College of Policing's website, legal of applications, we're going to scroll down to the bit I've already highlighted, which is here, use of handcuffs, blah, 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 blah. So we're just going to let this read it out, the full thing.
Using handcuffs during stop and search. Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services, IMICFAS, has raised specific concerns about the use of handcuffs during stop and search. Like any type of force, officers must only use handcuffs when it is lawful, necessary, and proportionate for them to do so. It would be unlawful for an officer to handcuff a person during a stop and search simply as a matter of routine. Whenever handcuffs are used, officers must only use them for as long as their use remains lawful, necessary, and proportionate. After this time period, the handcuffs must be removed. Officers should have an objective basis for using handcuffs during stop and search. Officers will be better placed to communicate why their use of handcuffs is lawful, necessary, and proportionate when their decisions are based on the facts, information, and/or intelligence. Where practicable, the officer should explain to the person they are stopping and searching why it is necessary for them to be handcuffed. Specific reasons should be given, as generic phrases are unlikely to provide sufficient justification for using handcuffs.
So, as you've seen there, intelligence and thingy, they're trying to say the person who they are looking for is known for carrying weapons. But that wasn't said at the beginning. He said he punched somebody in the face. Is a missing person which has assaulted somebody by punching them. Not that he's used a weapon. They never told him why they was using handcuffs or anything like that. But they did say to not use generic phrases and stuff like that. Was the use of handcuffs necessary in this case? I honestly don't believe there was. And under their own policies and, under their own rules by the College Policing, I honestly believe that this was an unlawful use of handcuffs as well. But let's continue, as the sergeant's just pulled up.
This is the sergeant. You obviously asked the supervisor, so you can speak to the supervisor if you so wish to. It's entirely up to you.
Well, I just didn't want to keep getting stopped.
You're
You know what I
welcome
mean?
to go on your way, sir, if you wish to. If not, our sergeant's here, so you're asking for a supervisor if you'd like to.
Well,
speak
I
to the
just want his
supervisor.
his name and number. That's all I want. And what station? Definitely Chelmsford. Yeah.
All attached to Chelmsford local policing team, sir. All right.
Well, as long as I've got his details, that's all I really
You're
care
welcome to
about.
have a conversation with him.
Because he's got to have a bit of training with yous.
All right, absolutely. if that's the way you feel, so as I say, everything's
Well,
also
yes.
visually recorded.
You can't just stop people without subjective facts.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, sir.
You just can't.
All right, well, you have a lovely evening, all right? Thank you.
Well,
for your
I just
time.
want to tell you how to train your staff, because
okay.
they're under you,
Why is that?
for stopping searching people for no goddamn reason.
Right, okay.
I did want to use a swear word, but you'll try and say Section 5 public, but even though you can swear, like, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just fed up with this. Happens too much.
Okay.
And have a word with them. They
Well,
can't
I'm
just
sure-
stop and
but
search
I'm
anyone
sure
for
if
no
they
reason, and put them in
explain the
cuffs as
reasons-
well without the fear of violence.
Right.
So, and that was another thing that annoyed me. They put me in cuffs without the fear of violence,
Right, okay.
and that really got my goat.
Well, I'm sure they've explained the reasons as to why they felt like a search was justified.
Well, they said a missing person,
Right.
a white person. So you're telling me if you get them, you can just say, "Oh, I want to stop him. He's white."
We both know I told you a lot more than that. It wasn't just a missing part. I told you that we wanted to arrest somebody as well, matching description, wearing a grey hoodie and jeans. So, you know what I mean? I did tell you that thing as well, didn't I? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah,
And
but
I also
still,
told you that
it
person was
was
carrying a knife as well.
it was just
So-
a bit annoying. I was put in
I can
cuffs and
understand
everything
that,
for no
mate. I
reason.
know, I can understand.
So now he's lying in front of his sergeant. He said for a knife as well. That was after the handcuffs was taken off, after the search. You said the reason for the search is to identify who you are. That is an unlawful and illegal search, and it is abuse of your powers because you've said all that after the search. During when you said who you are, what station you're from, and what you're expecting to find on the search, you said you was searching him to gain identity, to gain his identity. That is it. Nothing about a knife. So stop lying now. That was all brought up after the search had been carried out and the handcuffs was off and he was free to leave. But now your sergeant's there. You've pooed in your nappy, and now you're trying to justify the reason for the illegal search. Absolute disgrace. I hope this sergeant looks through this thingy and disciplines you for that, or if not, even reports you and charges you for a Section 26. Absolute disgrace.
It's not nice for anybody to get searched.
The whole interaction would have been recorded on body worn video, okay? Obviously people are allowed to walk around and stuff like that, that's absolutely fine. But if you're stop and searched...
He said he stopped and searching me just to identify me, but that's against my human right. So
Well,
he broke my
there's
human
difference
rights to
between
just stop and search me.
and stop an account.
So no, he said he stopped and searched me to get my identity, and that's against obviously my human
I
right.
mean,
Well, at the minute, at the roadside, I can't deal with that because I haven't reviewed the exact circumstances of why you were stopped.
Well,
and
it needs
why
to be
you were searched
reviewed.
and stuff like that. Obviously, if you were searched, then
I was.
a search record would be made.
Oh yeah, that's
okay,
a point.
and you
Yeah,
go-
I haven't got my search record. Could I have a written down
Yeah,
paper
the
search
officer-
record,
the officer
please?
will do that for you now.
Yeah, I do want a search record.
Obviously, I'm going to need your details so I can...
No, you don't. No, don't even try that one. I know for a fact you don't need details for a search record. So, yeah. And I'm sure your sergeant would say you don't have to either. Yeah, it's just annoying. I've been followed for about 45 minutes. Been trying to go home, but I didn't want to let you follow me home. So I was like, yeah. So I just kept on walking around, and then
Meagate Avenue and Meagate Road.
this is Meagate Ave.
It's going to be about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right then, so even the sergeant, when he said to stop and get his thing, he tried to say it was a stop and an account. A stop and account is a consensual conversation and you are free to leave whenever you want. This clearly was not a stop and account because he was handcuffed and searched. We've already established that, and he did clearly say he was stopped and searched to get his ID. Plain and simple. This sergeant said, oh, well, we'll have a look at the body cam and then we'll review it there and then have words if we need to. We'll look at the whole circumstances. Fuck the whole circumstances. The circumstance is this fucking twat in a hat doesn't know his job. He ain't even got his hat on, never mind that. Doesn't know his job, is abusing sections he has no right to use to gain ID. It should have been a stop and account, as simple as that. And then he could have just walked off, because you were under no obligation to having a conversation with the police. This was an illegal stop and search, plain and simple. What's going to happen is this sergeant's going to go back, look at the body camera and say, oh, he did nothing wrong. Fuck you. Yes, he did. He clearly did. We've all seen it. And this is an absolute disgrace. This type of policing is what makes people not like the police. If the sergeant had gone back, say he goes back, he does his thingies and fires this fool and charges him for Section 26, that will create that'll bond a bridge between the public and the police, because the police will then be seen as not looking after their own, even though their own are abusing their powers. It's an absolute disgrace, but that will not happen. The sergeant did nothing wrong, end of. What needs to happen is Camera Shy needs to sue the shit out of him. Not only sue the shit out of him, go after a private prosecution and have him done for assault and battery, and then hopefully go after him for a Section 26 as well. This type of stuff needs to stop, and a lot of people don't realise you can do a private prosecution and force the CPS to look into this sort of stuff. The police might not want to do it, but you can do it and then force the CPS to do it. I'm going to stop now because this has really wound me up. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this interaction. As always, like the video, it does open YouTube's algorithm, and I'll catch you on the next one.